Hi everyone. As many of you know, I do a Shop My Stash, and I've done it this way in the past and it worked out really well for me. I hope that you guys are okay with it, but I think that me showing my face on camera and going through all these things is unnecessary when I can just go through all these things with you in this way and you get the same effect, right? So, hi, welcome. This is going to be my Shop My Stash update, coming at you a little bit late because I was on vacation. Typically, I would post it the first Friday of the month. This being the second Friday of the month, it is a smidge bit late, but I am looking forward to doing some rotation of some products in here, and I do have some that I'll be decluttering also. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I know that you can't see my face, but I am a lover of all things high and colorful beauty and self care. I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education on my platform through things like reviews and hauls and empties and all the things. I also just kind of like to talk about makeup, so you're going to get some chatty videos over here. So if that's what you're in for, if that's what you love, I hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. With that said, let's roll into my September Shop My Stash update. All right, so these are the bins that I hold all of my everyday makeup in when I do my Shop My Stash. These are what I pull for the most. I try not to dig through my drawers looking for something that maybe isn't in this, except for mascaras, brow products, eyeliners, and eyeshadow palettes. I don't put into this rotation just because I like to pull for whatever I want to pull for that day, whatever I'm feeling. So, other than that, these are my everyday makeup drawers, and I try and pull from them most often for everything. And when I get ready to go out of town, I do travel out of town every single week for my job. I pull from these drawers mostly. This is to get a feel for the makeup that's within my collection, but also I utilize this as kind of a declutter moment on my channel. Like, I do have collection videos and declutters going up right now, but also as I get more familiar with the products in my inventory, I utilize this also for decluttering some of those things. So let's start with the little drawers over here. So we're going to start with lips. So first of all, let's go through the liner pencils that we have. I feel like there's one missing, but I think it's in my project pan, so I don't think that it's necessarily missing from here. The Clinique Quick Liner for Lips Intense, and this is an Intense Jam. And then I also have a MAC lip pencil in Cherry. So y'all maybe know the struggles that I'm going through with this MAC lip pencil in Cherry and the red lipsticks that are in here. I still have yet to use them, so I'm going to hold on to that and it'll stay in rotation. This one is the one in Clinique Intense Jam. I did use this a couple times this last Shop My Stash rotation. I do feel like it's just a little bit too pinky for me. It's very fuchsia almost. The thing about it is Clinique has really great lip liners. I think that they stay forever. They're really nice and soft, but this one would be an easy one to pan. It isn't retractable, meaning once you push it up, you can't get it back down. So I'm not going to show you how much product is in it, but I do know that I went through an entire Clinique quick liner in a previous Shop My Stash rotation, 1 month's worth of use. I do use the poop out of my lip liners. I use them every day. I fill in my lips just so that there's some color left over, so I don't have that line. I don't like a line, and it's super soft, so there's just not much in here, and I feel like it would be easy to go through if I did put it into like project pan or something like that. So I am gonna hold on to this lip pencil also. It's just gonna go back into rotation. So then I have the red lips that I pulled into here. And some of you may know the fate of this. I did do the declutter tag that was going around the YouTubes, and I posted that earlier this week. And this is the red lip product that I elected to get rid of. Now, when I put it on in that video, I was like, I could do this. I could wear this red. But I have reds that I feel like go on the lips better. And that would be these two. So this one I am going to declutter. It was part of that declutter video. Okay, so these two reds I will be keeping in rotation. I haven't used them yet. This one is the Maybelline matte lipstick in red for me. This is what it looks like, and that is a swatch of this guy. It's kind of, it leans a little bit orange, but I feel like it would match that lip liner really, really well. So that's going to stay in rotation. This is a long-lasting liquid lipstick by Ofra Cosmetics, also in a red. This one is a little bit more of a blue-based red. I'm not sure which kind of red I like best, but this is in the shade Brickell. So I am going to keep this in rotation also. The rest of these are going to come out of rotation. This Lotless Forget the Filler gloss, I loved this. This is in the shade Velvet. This is an amazing gloss, and I love the doe foot on this. Can you guys see that doe foot? It's nice and curved. It curves to your lips. I did wipe most of it off, but it is just a really nice kind of mauve-y moment in a lip gloss, and it has a little bit of a plumping feel to it, but I didn't really notice any kind of plumping on my lips. So amazing gloss. I will keep that. This MAC Dazzle Glass. This is in Sugar Rimmed. I loved this. This really did change the look of anything I put it on top of. Gave it a little bit of a cooler feel to it. It does have a little bit of a glitter to it, but it's not like grippy. The one thing that I didn't love about this is that I felt like it was a little bit thicker than I like my lip glosses to be. But because it was so thick, I feel like it stayed forever. So I will be keeping that. This is the Juvia's Place lip gloss in Barely There. I love this lip gloss. The doe foot is massive, and it's kind of got a little bit of a like a white peachy feel to it. And it honestly does a lot for a lip that you put on. I especially love this in the center of like a dark brown lip or something, just to make it a little bit more peachy than anything else. It looked amazing on top of this. This is actually a liquid lip in the shade Play It Cool by Dose of Colors. I really thought that these were going to be bad because they've been in my collection for a while. They've kind of got that doe foot that kind of wraps around your lips as well. But it's a beautiful, like, cool tone, almost mauve-y, but a little bit more brown toned than a mauve. It's a beautiful lipstick, and I loved it specifically with the Dazzle Glass on top. I also have this one called Stone. Again, this one is a little bit more cooler tone, but it is definitely more pink than the previous one, which was a little bit more brown. Beautiful liquid lip. I really thought these were going to be bad, but they didn't taste bad. They didn't smell bad. And this is a lipstick by Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Very Victoria. And you know, I had heard somewhere that if you didn't like Pillow Talk, that you were probably more of an olive tone complexion and you should try Very Victoria. This is a perfect, like, my lips but better shade of lipstick, and I have to tell you, that lipstick is so comfortable to wear. I almost think I could have a full boat of Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks and I would get some usage out of my lipstick collection. So that one will stay. So that is it for lips. We are decluttering one lipstick. We are keeping 3 in rotation because I haven't used them. All the reds. And then we are keeping in my collection these 7 items here. So for eyeshadow, usually I try and pull in some primers, some single potted shadows, and some liquid shadows. For primer, I didn't pull any primer, but I did pull in 2 shadow sticks. And these very much dupe as primer in my collection. And this one saw a lot of love. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I used so much of this. Here's what I have to say about these Bobbi Brown shadow sticks. They are pretty amazing for keeping shadow in place. Pretty amazing for using as a primer, and therefore I believe would also be pretty amazing as a shadow. This is in the shade Vanilla. This isn't a color I would ever use as a shadow, but this is an amazing shadow stick that I could use as a eyeshadow primer, so it will be staying in my collection. And that was new to me through my field leadership conference. This one is the It Cosmetics Superhero No Tug Shadow Stick, and this is in the shade Bionic Bronze. Now, I don't feel the same way about this one in terms of eyeshadow primer, but I do feel the same way about this in terms of how amazing it is as a shadow. I put this in my inner corner several times over the last month and it stayed. It didn't go anywhere. And it is really super creamy, even more creamy than I think the Bobbi Brown ones are. It feels like silk going on the eyes. So I definitely think that I could get along with this shadow stick in a way that I don't typically get along with mini shadow sticks. So I will be holding on to that. I mean, look, I just tried to wipe it off. It definitely wants to stick around. Same with that quick liner from Clinique. You see how that just hangs out. I had 2 liquid shadows that I brought into this, and I think that you guys can see the Ciate one I emptied. There is nothing left in here. What is left is definitely remnants that are left on there and what I can't like scoop out of the bottom. I am not one to pull out stoppers, so that's just how it is. And I am going to keep this in my collection just to use up the remnants of what's left. I loved this liquid shadow. It goes on so well. It didn't transfer. It didn't move around. It didn't crease. It was beautiful, and it's this really gorgeous like multi-chrome. So this is in the shade Wonder, and this is one of the Ciate shadow flips. This is just a mini. I loved this thing. Can you guys see the emptiness of it? It is so close to empty. So maybe I'll put it into my project pan. All right, and then I had this one from Ofra. This is in the shade Penthouse, and this also was really gorgeous. I had a really good time with both of these liquid shadows, which I can't always say is the case, but look at how pretty that is. I use this a lot as an inner corner highlight or just a lid shade, or even a lid shade on days that I didn't want to do anything with my eyeshadow. This was beautiful, so I will hold on to this as well. Then I had these 4 singles, kind of. This one is by, oh, wow, that just kind of fell out. I wonder if this is magnetic. Okay, this is not magnetic, so I'm going to try and be super careful with it so that I can keep it in its pot. This is Super Base it's a Velveteen Dream Shadow by Inmo Cosmetics. I think it's a really pretty like inner corner or overall lid color, but I have to be honest, it's so like non-vibrant that I don't see me using it for anything other than like an inner corner. And because it just kind of fell apart and it's not magnetic, I am going to declutter this shade. I have this Space Case one, and it is called Intense Stargasm. And this is what that one looks like. So do you see the difference between this one that's barely there and this one? Intense Stargasm is really pretty, and on the eye it does have a little bit of like a lavender to silver shift to it. I really enjoyed using this, popping it on just into the center of an eye look. It was really pretty. And then this one also by Space Case is called Alien Love Child, and it looks like this. And it also is really intense, really pretty, and has a little bit of a like a duochrome nature to it, like lavender, blue, like pink. But when you look at these 3 shadows, like I can't with this one, and I didn't find myself pulling for it very often, which is probably why I didn't know it was coming out of its little component there. So I will be holding on to the 2 Space Case ones. This one by Kaja, you know, I have to be honest, this just isn't everything that I thought it was going to be, but I don't mind it either. So we have 3 shades here. This one is the Sparkling Rose Trio. This one is a really pretty, like, deep rose-toned burgundy. And then we have this one here, which is kind of like a mid-tone, like corally pink. It does have a little bit of pink glitter in it, so it tends to look, you know, almost duochrome, but it's definitely not. And then we have this one here, which is definitely more coral. I really do like them. I just don't think that they're worth the hype that they that was all the rage for these Kaja bento boxes. So again, this one is in sparkling rose. I will hold on to this, but it's decent. It's just not spectacular. So we are decluttering one item out of the bunch, and we are keeping the other 7 items that were in that. This one will probably go into my project pan because it's almost empty. Let's go through these first. This is the Butter London highlighting gel. This is in Chandelier. So when I first pulled this in, I really thought it was going to be bad, but I think because this is on here, it's actually stayed in really great condition. This has been part of my collection for literal years. You can see it's still very, very wet and dare I say moist. And you can see that it also has got a really nice like wet shine to it that is kind of beaming, see me from the moon kind of shine. Because this is still in really great condition, I am going to hold on to it. I really do love it. What I would say about this though is I don't 100% pull for cream and liquid highlights very often, but man, look at how beautiful that is. That is just, it's gorgeous. These 2 items I'm going to get rid of. First and foremost, the Physicians Formula All Store Face Palette. It has the Murmur Butter Bronzer, a matte butter bronzer, a powder mineral glow pearls, a rose all day petal glow, a powder multicolor press powder, and a happy booster glow and mod boosting blush. I hated this. I hated this so much. The only thing that I really liked out of this was the blush. It was a beautiful blush. This gold of a highlight on me is awful, and I just didn't find it to be very flattering at all. So I mean, look at how gold that is. I do like gold on me, but I like it to be a white gold. The silver is an overspray, so it looks horrible, but on it looks even worse. So until you got past that overspray, it would be like a streaky silver champagne highlight, and it's just it's not pretty. I loved the Murmur Butter Bronzer. I always do, but this is really light on my skin tone. I feel like I need a deeper version of that, and I did not like this matte one. I have better matte bronzers that I would pull for. This is going in declutter. It will probably go to my daughter. She will love it. This one I am also decluttering because of these powders. This is the only one I found myself pulling for. I don't really love the peachy glow of this. It was more powdery than it was anything else. It's really pretty once it's on, but it's super powdery. I never use like a setting powder ever, and this bronzer is so orange. It's so orange. I don't know if you guys can see that. The lighting is kind of wonky in here. Look how orange that is. It's very, very orange. So I can't with this, and I'm not going to hold on to it for this one shade because I have a ton of Clinique blushes that I really, really love. So I'm getting rid of both of those face palettes. Then we go into here, and we had the blushes that I pulled in, which were, I think, just these, right? Yeah. Just these. So we have the Pure. This is the Blushing Act Matte Blush in Pretty and Peach. It's really pretty. It looks like it's going to be, you know, multifaceted. It's not really. I was kind of scared of that, but it's just a really pretty, like, almost your skin but better peachy tone, and I really like a good peachy blush on me, so I'm going to hold on to that. I think it's a really pretty, just really basic peach blush. I am also going to hold on to this one against my better judgment. Here's the true tea on this. I really love a deep blush. I really found this one to be so deep that it was hard to manage for the most part because It's very pigmented. Like, let me tell you something. Beauty Bay blushes are where it's at. But what I loved about this is it blended so nicely, so easily, and I could just literally tap in and get such a beautiful rosy tone on my cheeks that I really loved. So I am going to hold on to this. This is the Beauty Bay blusher in Royal. And it's super thin, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room for me. I have this one by Mellow. This is just their face blush in pink. And it's just a beautiful, almost baby pink. I really enjoyed this color. It was some eye looks on my look too. And this is a beautiful, like silky feel to the blush. It really does have kind of like a pillowy essence to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was so nice to work with. It blended so nicely. And this Bare Minerals bronzer in Kiss of Copper. I don't know why I was on the fence about these for so long. I want to get the other two. Look at just how beautiful copper this is. It's pretty pigmented, but a light hand, a little dab will do you, and it blends out so beautifully. I want to pick up the other two colors. So what is that? Kiss of Pink and Kiss of um, whatever else it is. Kiss of Tan, Kiss of Bronze, whatever it is. Beautiful. I will hold on to this as well. Again, there are the swatches of the blushes that I had to work with this week. Highlighters. These are the three highlighters that I had in here. And this is the Jaclyn Highlighting Illuminator in Iced. I mean, this is beautiful. I have nothing to say about this except for it will stay in my collection. I used this so much. What I hate about it is how big this packaging is. That is absolutely ridiculous. I also had the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in Idol. This is, old in my collection. It's not like super gold. It's kind of champagne gold or almost like a coppery gold. I do think that this is getting rather old in my collection. I'm not sure it would live through a declutter. I'm pretty certain I have similar shades. Like I can think of the Amrezy that I love more than this, but I am going to hold on to it for now. One that will be leaving is this guy here. This is the Lorac Light Source Illuminating Highlight in Limelight. And the reason why this will be leaving is because number one, it is so powdery, but number two, it's so blue. Like I can use this as an inner corner highlight, but that's about it. It just makes my face look green. And we all know how I feel about green highlights. That's just not it, sis. And honestly, if I'm going to pull for a blue highlight, it would, for inner corner highlight or whatever, it would probably come out of my ABH Aurora palette because I love that formula. This one was just, it's really powdery, and I don't know if you guys can see it in the component, but like there's powder flecks all around it, and that's just from running my finger in it. It is beautiful. Please don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy using it, but I enjoyed using it only as an inner corner highlight, and I have plenty of other highlights that I could use for that same purpose. So I will be decluttering this guy. So then we move on to bronzers and contours. I am going to keep this. This is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in Baked. This is what their full size looks like these days. You guys can see the orange marking. I have decided to put this into a project pan because it smells a lot like the two products that I had in my project pan from Milk Makeup in the same fashion smelt earlier this year before panning them. It does have kind of like that old crayon smell, or like even Play-Doh. Yeah, I don't know how long this will last. I think in my project pan I'm going to keep it in and then call it quits at the end of the year. But I also loved using it. It's a beautiful cream bronzer that blends out really nicely. I loved using, like, putting my brush onto it, mixing my brush on it, and then stippling it onto my face. That's how I enjoyed using it. It's got a really nice tone to it, not too orange, not too like gray, like contour-ish. I do want to get as much usage out of it as I can prior to decluttering it. The other cream bronzer that I had in here was this one. This is by Charlotte Tilbury. It's her Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer. I have to be honest, you guys can see the CT is almost gone out of the center. I used the poop out of this guy. I love this bronzer. It's a little more on the yellow side, but has a nice like gray kick to it. It goes on so beautifully on my skin and looks natural. So I'm excited that I picked this up because I wasn't going to, because I picked up the ABH and the NARS one and just picked up the Chanel one not that long ago. So I wasn't going to, but I'm really excited to pick this up. It was one of my favorite products to dip into through this rotation. I also have the Smashbox contour palette. This is the step-by-step contour palette. And when I really think of it, I'm like, should I declutter this? But here's the thing. Sometimes I just need a contour palette. So I really enjoyed working with this because I had a contour, I had a bronzer, and I had like an inner corner highlight brow bone shade that was really, really nice. So this is definitely a contour, this is definitely a bronzer, and this is definitely a highlighting shade, and I really kind of loved it. So I am going to hold on to that as well. For these three guys, these are three ABH bronzers, and I definitely don't need all three of these, right? So I kind of went through them and I tested them all out singularly, yep. And I have decided that I am getting rid of one of them. And it's because it's just far too red toned for me. I can't do really anything with it. Here I have Tawny and I have Rich Amber. And those are a really nice tone. This one does look a little bit more red. And this one does look a little bit more brown. And then you put them on your skin. We've got this one, which could double as like a contour shade, in my humble opinion. And then this one that is a beautiful bronzer. Then we have this one, which is the shade Cappuccino. And when I put it on, it made me look sunburnt almost. Which is okay in some way, but it made me look, it's too red. It's way too red. I couldn't get it to work for me for nothing. It just looked overdone every single time I did it. And I got all three of these at like TJ Maxx or something like that for $9. So I'm not mad at it, but this one is going to be decluttered. The last drawer I have is this one, and this is pretty easy for me. I am keeping both of these concealers. I really do think the LYS one that I had in last rotation is my new holy grail, but I feel the same way about these two. Like, this one is a beautiful brightener, and I'm really glad that I got the shade I did. This is 3.2 in the Revealer Concealer by Kosas, and I think it's made for olive complected skin, and even though this looks really white, it's also really olive complected, and it looks just flawless on my under eyes. It also doesn't crease hardly at all, and I've got some really finicky under eyes, so I was really excited about that. This one I think matches my skin tone pretty much perfectly, so I could wear it as like a brightener on my T-zone, you know, or whatever, but it just is such a beautiful formulation. This is the Dior Backstage Flash Perfector Concealer, and this is in shade 2N, and I think it's almost perfect for my skin tone. What I loved the most about it is the applicator. So it is kind of a brush, or not kind of, it is a brush, so it allowed for almost perfect application of the product, and I could like blend it out a little bit better with this, because the brush didn't hold on to any more product than I really wanted it to. And I think, as you guys can see me, you know, blending it out, it's just perfect. It's like the perfect skin match for me. These I'm also going to keep. The New Glow became one of my favorites. I hate It Cosmetics CC creams. They're so thick and gross and really just look thick on my skin. And this one didn't. It was such a beautiful foundation and I loved it. Kind of a medium at best coverage, but definitely better coverage than this in my humble opinion. But I loved using it. It gave a really nice glow to my skin and had a really good coverage. This one, the Shape Tape Cloud coverage, I would say is far less coverage than even this is. Maybe light at best. I think that you could probably build it to get a little bit more medium, but it's going to be a heavy light coverage more than a medium coverage. But this was a really nice foundation also. I was really actually shocked by it because anything called Shape Tape, I automatically think it's going to be awful because I hate Shape Tape concealer, and I know I'm an anomaly in this situation, but this was actually quite beautiful. I loved the like coverage of it too. For those of you who are unaware, I do have dry skin, I have aging skin. With that said, I don't have a whole lot of texture or wrinkles to speak of. I love medium at most coverage foundations, but I really, really love a good skin tint. This falls in between skin tint and medium coverage for me, and I really, really loved it. This is in 21N Light Medium Neutral. It was a really great shade match for me. This one is called Neutral Light Medium also. These two primers, I was actually pretty shocked by this tinted one. Let's just start here. I pumped some of this out onto my hand and I was like, there's no way. That is damn orange. There's no way. But once I got it on my skin and started like spreading it out on my skin, I was kind of taken aback by this primer. Like, I really just feel like it did wonders to not only like smooth my skin but also create a really beautiful glow, and it's got a really nice SPF in it of 30. So I thought it was great to go on top of my face and the SPF that I had already placed on it to just create that much more protection from the sun on my skin. I loved this. I was really kind of shocked. The Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, you guys can see, I didn't even use. I had so much fun with this one, and I was really trying to hone in on finishing up the two that were in my project pan. I didn't even mess with this one. So this one will stay in the Shop My Stash rotation for next month so that I can get some use out of it. This Coty Airspun, it's not a bad powder, but I put it in here because it, you know, one of my powders has got to go. It won't fit in here with the other powders that I have in here. I am going to keep this. I don't know how I'm going to fit it in. I might maybe push these guys forward and stick it back there for now until I go through the rest of my powders to see which powder I'm going to keep and which one I'm going to get rid of so that they all fit into this one spot. I don't need any more powders than this. I usually do not wear powder very much at all. So there's no reason for me to hold on to a powder when I'm not going to use it. But I am going to hold on to that one because it was really, really beautiful. The worst thing about it was the smell of it. So of the products that I had in that drawer, I'm keeping one in rotation. I'm decluttering none, and I'm putting the rest back into my collection. So these items here are the items that I am decluttering out of this Shop My Stash rotation. And I have 6 total items that are being decluttered out of my collection. And let's go pull some new products. So I already have these 3 guys still in here because I didn't use them. Hopefully I will use them now because we're rolling into fall. Like, hopefully I can get a little more awesome about wearing reds. Let's dig in, you guys. I just went through my backup bins and put all of my lip products into these drawers. I did have a bunch of lip products into backups. For liquid lips, I think I am going to pull in, I think this one by Giorgio Armani. This is in the shade 501, and I think this is like a lip, I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it on the screen if I can get it looked up. I got this in an influencer box, and I remember loving it, but it's been a while, so I'm going to put this in. I am also going to put in the 2 new Sydney Grace colors that I just got. See how I like them. They look very, very similar in tone. I just want to see what this is all about. So I think that's it for liquid lips right now, though. For gloss, I'm going to pull in a couple of new guys. So this is a gloss that is by Midas. That is one of their icings, and this is in the shade Strawberry. And I had 4 glosses from Midas that I hadn't pulled in to anything yet. They were sitting in my backup drawers. So I'm going to pull this in, see how much I like it. I'm also going to pull in this one from Nabla. This one is kind of a darker like almost brown tone. This is the Shine Theory lip gloss, and this is in the shade RSVP. I think this was a free gift with purchase, if I remember correctly, because I know I didn't purchase it. I am also going to pull in, I think I'm going to pull in this. This is actually a lip oil. It's by Yensa, and it's one of their Super 8 lip oils. It is in the shade Pink Shine. I am interested in a good lip oil, and this one has 8 superfood ingredients in it. It's supposed to be really good for your lips. Maybe I'm going to pull this one in from Rare Beauty also, just because I want to try out the formula. I've heard good things about a lot from Rare Beauty, but haven't really found something that I love yet. And I kind of love this component. Look at the shape of it. It's very interesting. This is one of her glosses in the shade Nearly Apricot. I think it's a little bit too pinky for what I've got going on for liquid lips, but maybe we'll pull something in from the lipstick category that'll work well with it. Lipstick category. Let's pull in this one. This is Estee Lauder in the shade 901, or it is one of their Pure Color Illuminating Shine lipsticks, and it is kind of a brownie tone. I feel like that'll go well with the brown gloss in there. And then let's also pull in, I want to pull in something a little bit more pinky so that I can also use that pink gloss from Rare Beauty. Let's pull in this one. This is a MAC one, and this is in Shocking Revelation, and I feel like this is kind of pink, but also kind of red. That looks more red than it does pink. I'm going to pull it in anyway. We're going to pull it in anyway, because I think that Nearly Apricot will look really good over the top of that. So I'll pull in those. And then for lip liners, I feel like we need kind of a brown one. So I'm going to pull in this one by Buxom. It's called Undercover. We're going to do, okay, we're going to do 2 Buxom ones and the one from Urban Decay. So the one from Urban Decay is called Weirdo, and it is just a really like light baby pink. And then this one is called Dolly Danger by Buxom, like a darker mauvey pink. And then this one is called Espionage, right? No, this one's called Undercover, also by Buxom, and it will be our brown tone. And then of course we have the red one in there also. So this is the lip products that I'm pulling in. I actually have quite a bit more lip products in here than I usually pull in, so hopefully I use some of these things. The rest of this is like minis and lip like balms and stuff like that. I don't pull any of that stuff in to my Shop My Stash because I just use them as I need them. Okay, foundations and primers. So I am, just a reminder, keeping this one in rotation for primers because I didn't try it. So that is a hydrating primer. So I'm going to put this one in as a pore filling primer, and then I have a hydrating. I think 2 primers is all I need. So these 2 primers will be in here. And now let's look at foundations. I am going to pull in, I'm going to pull in the Stay Naked Hydromaniac. I feel like it's been a while since I used this. But I am also going to pull in the NARS Light Reflecting. I did get this at FLC. I haven't even tried it yet. This is in the shade Punjab. And they did shade match me and said that this was the right shade. And that was in like April before I really started getting tan. So I feel like now is the time to appropriately use it when I'm not super pale, but I'm also not super dark. So those 2 foundations, I kind of feel like I want a skin tint in here also. So I am actually, I have a new one in here. So I am going to put this Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint in here. I haven't used this one yet. This has broad spectrum SPF 15. This is in the shade Nude. Let's look at some concealers in here. I am going to pull this back in. This is a really, really heavy concealer, but I think I am going to pull it back in to see if I can perfect it in a way that it doesn't look heavy and I can still use it, and it's light enough that I feel like it could be brightening on my under eyes as well. But also would be a good like shade match for my actual skin. This is in the shade light nude, or 11.0. It is a neutral, so I'm excited to try that. But I also want to try the Hourglass because I just brought this into my collection and haven't tried it yet. This is in the shade Creme. All right, for powders, I am actually, I think, going to try it finally, this By Terry powder, because my friend Anna talks about this powder all the time. She loves this powder. So I'm going to try it. It is supposed to be a Hydrocare setting powder, so it's supposed to be, you know, moisturizing because it's got the hyaluronic in it, which draws the moisture out of the air. So I'm excited to try this out, and I haven't tried it yet. So it is a brand new offering into my collection. Also, that I picked up, I think I got that in the Lucky Bag this last year. So I'm excited about that. So 3 foundations, 2 primers, 2 concealers, and a powder. We've got our complexion set. So now we need to turn around and look at eyes and bronzer and blush. Okay, for eyes, you know, here's the true tea. I'm not going to pull very much out of this drawer because I already am having single shadow month going on for my palette roulette. So there isn't much that I want to pull in from here, but I do think that there are a couple of things that I could pull in just to have them in rotation, and one of those being one of these shadow sticks can be pulled in, but I also could pull in an eye primer. I also could pull in like a couple pigments or something. So let's look at those things. Oh, maybe a glitter. Maybe I'll do a glitter this month. So right away, let's pull in these 2 things. This is the Ciate London glitter. This is one of their marbled metallics, and this is in the shade Wicked, and it is just a really beautiful like purple glitter almost. It's a little bit older in my collection, so I'd like to see how this works on the eye. That doesn't really swatch super, but I know I can get some really stunning eye looks out of this. In addition to that, I'm going to pull in this one from Lorac. I can't remember what this is called from Lorac, but this is in the shade Lace, and this came to me totally shattered, but I do know that this is a beautiful like inner corner highlight. I am going to try these 2 guys out. I also think I want to pull in a couple of pigments because I have fun with my inner corner. I think I want to pull in this one by MAC. This is a beautiful pigment, and it is called Chartreuse. Also kind of want to try this one by Bare Minerals. This is actually a loose shadow, but I kind of really just dig the shade of this. It's one of the few that lasted in my collection, and this one is called Vanilla Sugar, and it's kind of got a little bit of a shine to it, a little bit of a sheeniness to it, and I think it'll be a good inner corner and brow bone as well. I am also going to pull in the Smashbox 24-hour eye primer because I haven't had an eye primer in my Shop My Stash in a while, and I haven't used this one in years. So we're going to try it. I am going to pull in my NYX Milk eye pencil because I'm, you know, like I said, doing my single shadow month, and there's a lot of really pretty vivid single shadows, and this will really kick up the pigmentation a notch with that white backing. It's also a beautiful inner corner and brow bone shade. So I think that's it from this drawer. For liquid eyeshadows, I already know I'm going to pull these two in. These are Danessa Myricks Twin Flames. One is in True Love and the other one is in Sweetheart. So I want to see how these stack up. And then I think I am going to pull one of these Sydney Grace ones in because these are new. They came in with my Sydney Grace haul. And I just want to see if these are the same as what I experienced with my last Sydney Grace liquid shadows. And if they are, then I will end up decluttering the other ones. So these are very, very similar in tone. So I think I'm going to go with the lighter of the two, which I think is probably this one in Stolen Kiss. So one is called Boardwalk and it looks a little bit more coppery. And one is called Stolen Kiss and it looks a little bit more pink. So I think I'm going to bring that in. So that's it for liquid shadows. All right, so this month I am going to pull in both my NARS and my ABH cream bronzer. I just think they're very different tones, and I think they could play very different roles in my makeup life over the next month. So I am going to pull these in, and I would like to see how I feel about them coming out of like Chanel and Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm going to pull these in. I also think I'm going to pull this in as like a chopping block item. I can't remember how I feel about this, but this is the Morphe Bronzer and Celebutante. So that can be a powder bronzer for me. I also really just want to use the Hourglass bronzer that I have in Nude Bronze Light. So I will be pulling that in as well. So 2 cream bronzers, 2 powder bronzers. I am going to pull in this guy as all the highlights I'm going to need for the month. This is my IPSY Hello Kitty Charming Glow palette. And you guys just saw me pull this into my collection. So I'm going to pull this in as all the highlights I could ever need. So let's move over to blushes because I won't be pulling any more bronzer in. And because I'm pulling that Hello Kitty item in, I won't be pulling any single highlights in. Okay, so let's move on to blushes. And for blush, these are my ColourPop Hello Kitty blushes that I've had in my collection for about a year at this point, and I haven't even used them. And I've been really interested in Persona Bubble, and I think it's because everybody and their brother is talking about it, but I feel like this could give me the vibes of Persona Bubble. Maybe not quite as pink, but if I try this and I don't love this, then I know that I shouldn't buy Bubble, right? So there's that. And then this one is just more of a like a muted like tone, but it's got a little bit of glowiness to it. And I feel like coming out of summer and going into fall, that might be a good choice to still help me feel like summer vibes, right? I also think I'm going to put this one by Illamasqua in there. This one is kind of like a liquid. So, and I haven't tried it yet. It just came into my collection. So I am going to put this one in. It's a liquid blush. Let's put Deep Throat in by NARS because I have never used that. Let's put Cherry Truffle by Laura Geller in also. This is really deep. So that's going to give me the deepness that I'm looking for. This is a really nice kind of like corally color. This is orange, so that's going to give me a little bit of differentiation. And then these two, one is really hot pink and one is kind of mauve-y. So I think this is a good combination of blushes to put in here. And then we've got these for bronzers. And then I've got this face palette for highlights. And I think that will be plenty. You know, I think I'm going to also, I always do this thing where I think I need more when I really don't. But this is new to my collection. It came to me in an IPSY, not new, but I haven't used it yet. So I do think that I am going to put this in also. This has a blush and this is supposed to be a contour, but it would be more of a bronzer for me. So that'll give me another blush and bronzer in this situation also. So I am going to put this in as well. Okay guys, so these are what I am putting in to my Shop My Stash rotation this month. This is the pile of stuff that I am decluttering from last month's Shop My Stash. And these are the things from last month that I had a really good time with and that will remain in my collection for the time being. So let me know what you think about the Shop My Stash. Let me know what's in your Shop My Stash for the month. Let me know what your thoughts are on the things I'm decluttering. How do you guys feel about the things that are in my current Shop My Stash? Just talk to me down in the comments section. And I hope that you guys are having an amazing day, month, week, whatever it is for you that is going amazing. I hope that you and yours are well, that you all are safe, that you all are healthy, and that you are all having a grand old time and ready for fall because it's coming at us sooner rather than later. I hope that you all are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye, friends.